How many of you here are under 35 years of age? Okay, so almost the entire crowd. How many of you are students? Okay, almost the entire crowd again. So, why youth? So the thing is that there are more than half the population of India right now is under 35. There are more than 300 million students at this moment in India. According to United Nations survey forecast, there will be more than 1,000 million working age population by 2050 in India. But in the 2014 elections, the number of new voters in India was 100 million. So that is why the topic that I'm going to talk about makes sense to the entire age group, but specifically it's going to be for the youth. So how significant are we as humans? How many of you have asked this question to yourselves in your lifetime, anywhere in your lifetime when you are in your ups or downs? How many of you have asked this question to yourselves? Okay, not more than 5 to 10 hands here. Okay, so I think that overestimate or underestimate ourselves to a higher scale. Like we don't consider ourselves ever average. We always think that we are either some going to be some great leaders, or either we consider ourselves as losers. Okay, so I would like to just go into a bit of cosmology to just explain you the significance of humans. This is our sun, and that right there, the third dot from the left, that is our Earth as compared to the sun. Now we might think that we are quite insignificant when it comes to the sun. This is again a NASA file where the Earth is compared to the sun. But now, our sun is less than 1,500 times. The radius of our sun is less than 1,500 times than that of the discoverable, the highest, the largest discovered star. So that is UY Scuti, and that is our sun. Now compare what the Earth would look like in front of the sun. Now, the world physically for us is just the Earth itself. Okay, we don't think about universe on our daily lives, because frankly speaking, the universe doesn't make a sense. Like what happens in the universe doesn't make a sense to us, right? If there's annihilation of some planet, it doesn't make a sense for us in daily lives. It doesn't matter. But now I just showed you the perspective in terms of space. Now this is the age of Earth. Actually, it's more than this. But this is the age of Earth. This is the age of the universe. And this is average human lifespan. So this is how insignificant we are in terms of time and space altogether. There have been more than 100 billion people who have lived on this planet. And we are just one batch, like how the batches pass out of the colleges. We are just another batch passing, going through this phase. We will die, a new human kind will come, even they will die. So this is going to be a big process. But now I am I'm seeing a lot of faces worried and feeling a bit of feeling petty and small right now. But don't worry, this is not a universal anxiety. Now let us look at this perspective in a bit different way. This is an H2O molecule, a water molecule. And I don't need to explain its significance for us. Okay, more than half of the body is constituted by this, H2O. But what is its size really? It's less than nanometer. Okay, so do we ask the same question for this H2O molecule, that what is its significance to us? So this is a pictorial of how much water is important to us. What is more daunting is that we don't think about these things. We don't think about how significant our lives are. We are just in our own lives, people saying like, this is my life, my rules, but no one thinks about what is our cosmic insignificance, how small we are as compared to the given picture, the entire space and time. Recently, scientists had recorded a black hole consuming a giant gas planet, okay, and about a few years back, but we don't even know about it. We don't know because it doesn't make a difference in our lives. What difference does it make if there's some planet being annihilated going into some black hole? It doesn't, right? But the significance is relative, I think, because some things that are significant to us might not be significant to someone else. But for us, what is significant is just the Earth. What the world is just the earth, our country, our family, or on regular basis, the people who we talk to, the people who we interact with. That is the world for us. So what is the purpose of life and what is satisfaction? Now this is a question that I think that everyone should ask at least once in their lives. Like everyone should ask themselves about this question. What is the purpose of your life? There is not a single person in this world who has had a personal life whose personal life has had such a long lasting impact on the humanity that we have remembered them forever, for their personal lives of course. But now let's emphasize what I had earlier said. If we think about the world as just the people who we talk to, some might say that we are living a life of a frog. We are just thinking about the people we are interacting with. However petty it might be, what is the ultimate aim of everyone? What is your ultimate aim? Is it to land or secure a good job or get into a decent college? Or is it to have kids, have a house, a luxury car? Is that it? That is it. That is the end, that is the ultimate goal of our existence. What is satisfaction? What is that you want from life? What is that you expect from the world for yourselves? Now, moving on from satisfaction, let's go on our thoughts and education because it's quite a bit relevant here. How many of you here are engineering students? Almost each and everyone, right? And how many of you, tell me honestly, how many of you had researched well about your own skills, abilities, about the market conditions before getting into your particular branches which you are in already? How many of you had researched properly that this is what I know and this is what I'm getting into? Hardly 5 to 7, 8 hands in crowd of almost 100, right? So this, from this crowd, there are only 10% in this crowd who actually knew what they wanted to do in life, who knew and who wanted the same thing from the beginning to the end. Now, this is one of the biggest decisions in our lives, but we didn't give it much of a thought. How many of you know your own weaknesses and are confident enough to express it in public? How many of you can do that? Again, a minimal crowd. No issues. I think that we need to look inwards while also exploring the world. There are not a lot of people who also try and introspect themselves at each and every point of time when they are busy judging the other world, right? And this happens usually with youth when we have the entire communication platform at your fingertips. We have all the rights to comment on videos, comment on someone's statuses, right? But we don't do that to ourselves. For this, there is this Johari window, which was found in some 1950s by psychologists, which says that what your attributes, whatever qualities you have, if they are known to you and if they are known to others, that is your arena. If it is not known to you, but the world knows about your qualities, then that is a blind spot for you. And if there are some qualities that you have, you know you have those qualities, but you are not showing those qualities, or you're wearing it as a mask, then this is your facade part. And there are some qualities that we don't know that we have, and that even the world doesn't recognize, the world even fails to recognize that you have these qualities. That goes into this unknown area, the dark area. So what the dangerous part is that most of our qualities, we don't know, we don't do the SWOT analysis and whatever they tell us to do. So we take those things pretty lightly. So what this window says is that try to get the qualities in this area into the arena part, because this is of course the dangerous part, but the blind spot and the facade, this can be dangerous either to you or to the world. If it's the facade part, then it's dangerous to the world, of course, because you're hiding some things. And if it's the blind spot, then it's of course dangerous to you. Now moving on to our goals. How many of you had written that essay in school, like if I were to become a prime minister, or if I were to become a cricketer or a president? How many of you? Yeah, almost each and everyone. And almost more than 60-70% of the people still think that they can be prime ministers, they can be champions, sports champions, world leaders, or billionaires, entrepreneurs, right? But how many of you actually compare their efforts, the efforts of people like Sachin Tendulkar, Cristiano Ronaldo, Bill Gates, or world leaders like Modi? How many of us compare their efforts with our efforts? What we do is just compare our age and their age and what I had achieved, what they had achieved, and what I want to achieve. We just compare our dreams. We don't compare our efforts, right? So Even like I gave the example of prime minister. There are a lot of people who might be dreaming like I want to become a prime minister. There are a lot of wannabe politicians who are trying to youth majorly, who thinks that just because going to some politicians, like going after some politician, they will be world leaders or something in a span of time. But to emphasize the fact that there have been just 15 prime ministers since our independence, and the increase in population since then has been more than 90 crores. So you can figure out the math, how many of the actual population becomes the prime ministers or leaders. So I think that we need to compare our efforts with these efforts, and we need to understand the fact that the amount of efforts that these people are putting in, the feats, the achievements they are doing, what they are doing while they are in the struggling phase. The next part is making life meaningful and not just resourceful. So the thing is that youth is a phase where we are transformed and we are navigating through adolescence, right? We are exploring ourselves. So the thing is that we connect to people like us. Youth connects with youth. We go online and you can see a lot of things like memes, meme culture. So meme culture is not followed by adults, I think, above 45 age of people. That is usually followed by the youth because youth connects with youth here. So the thing is that beliefs are formed, or beliefs in youth are formed because of the defining moments in that time. So what are the defining moments for the current scenario? What do you think? Is globalization just it? Globalization. Because the most visible change that we can see right now is just the lifestyle change. The change in lifestyles of people. That is the only change that is apparent and visible to the people. So also we have open communication platforms right now. We have the entire world at our fingertips. Politicians are changing strategies, as Vinayak already emphasized, that politicians are changing strategies. They are going on social media to attract youth. Then even industries, from sneakers, DSLRs, whatever, even youth is buying things that they don't need. Not everyone can be a professional photographer by just buying a DSLR and opening an Instagram account, right? So these are the things that youth needs. Like, this is the most important phase of our life, and how vigilant are we towards this phase? How meaningful our lives are than just resourceful. Now, moving on to the main topic, the youth and internet. Internet access in India. More people have access to internet in India than the population of Australia, an entire continent. Millions watch videos of social experiments where people are asking around on the streets some random questions to youth, and which gaze on actually the inner ourselves. So those questions, those social experiments tell us about ourselves, and we are pretty much inclined to watching them because we actually connect with those kind of questions. We want to know what is going on in people's lives. We want to know what other people think regarding the same questions. But also, there's meme culture. Then there's virtual happiness. People getting happy because just their pictures are being liked or commented on Facebook and everything. So people are also running behind social approval of some sort. Right? Because just because you go to some restaurant, you click a picture, people get likes, you get approved socially. Right? So this is pretty much viral right now in youth culture, basically. We try to follow Western culture a lot, I guess, but at the cost of parents' money sometimes. But is this really necessary? How much do we learn from the good things from the Western culture than just adapting to their dressing sense or whatever? I'm not opposing it, just stating as a fact. So I think that there should be analysis of standard of life versus quality of life. I think that standard of life is what luxuries you avail, how you spend your money, while the quality of life is how you spend the most important resource, that is time, how you spend that. Tell me how many of you have watched the recent viral video on Dinchak? How many of you have done that? Almost, raise your hand, don't be, all right. And how many of you have researched on GST or on changing political scenarios in the world? Or even, okay, pretty much, right. So yeah, we can say that youth here is at least better than what I thought of, right? Yeah, but this is the usual case. And don't worry, those of you who haven't watched the Dinchak and all the other video, go and watch it. More than 1 million people already have, right? So there's no harm in watching it for entertainment purposes. But we need to pay attention to more concerning facts, where like youth joining ISIS, radicalized youth is being radicalized by online, proper, carefully strategized online propaganda, right? There are other concerning issues for youth, such as drug and alcohol, teen pregnancy, obesity, virtual presence obsession. There are even some bizarre practices like suspension, tongue splitting, piercings in youth, which is rare in our country, fortunately. But how often do we pay attention towards facts like this number of people living in slums in India is almost twice the population of Australia? We don't know that, right? These things never go viral. So there is a lack of compassion, lack of sense of responsibility, lack of sense of responsibility towards friends and family and society, I think, in youth right now. So let's not just talk about how bad the youth is or how on the wrong rail the youth is. Actually, there are a lot of positive points as well. Youth has the ability. We just need the right push in the right direction. We just need proper mentoring. Engage in beneficial activities. There are a lot of examples like Elon Musk, a multimillionaire at 20 who is now aiming for habitation on Mars. Like Zuckerberg, who was a billionaire. Even the local example, Amrutesh Aurangabadkar, who became IS officer at 21 years of age. Then the world is moving towards young leadership. Look at countries like France, Canada and Ireland. Leo Varadkar, the first openly gay head of state, is of Indian origin, somehow. Yeah, because being gay is not allowed in India apparently, yeah. So we are a driving force, we have the potential. History has shown us, from billionaires to from billionaires like Zuckerberg to our independence heroes. Youth has a major contribution in driving the world. So making life meaningful. We also have examples, like we have invented zero. We were the pioneers in identifying the exact value of pi. We have invented buttons, the shirt buttons, the shampoo. We have even tried and made things relevant to us. The Mangalyaan. Mangalyaan was sent, one of the cheapest satellites to go on Mars. Right, that was done by us. So we have more than half population under 35. While the most of the world is aging, we are set to become the youngest country by 2020. Even today, number of people working is almost equal to the population of US. There are more students in India than the combined population of France, United Kingdom, and Italy. India is the second largest English-speaking country. I would like to quote Samuel Ullman, a poet here. Youth is not a time of life, but a state of mind. It's not just about rosy cheeks, red lips, and supple knees, but a matter of will, quality of imagination, and vigor of emotions. We have extreme level of enthusiasm, working with zeal wisely, and having a sense of belief in ourselves, having a sense of responsibility towards this society will surely take us ahead of the other age groups. Enthusiasm is what we have. That's what drives us. Years may wrinkle the skin, but to give up enthusiasm will wrinkle the soul. If we determine and take initiatives, if we work hard, believe in ourselves, and be wise to ourselves and our efforts, believe me, we can say that the future belongs to us. Thank you.